School choice is taking off in Texas. A new program will disperse nearly $1 billion to help families pay for private school or homeschooling in the state. The response from parents has been record-breaking. Over 40,000 applications came in on day one of the launch. Taylor, I'm going to come to you first on this because you're in the school mode.
Yeah.
And you know, I think, unless I really misunderstand the context here, that's huge demand in Texas for this.
The photos were lines around the corner.
Yeah. So what does that demand tell you, or what are the implications, do you think, of that kind of demand?
So I love it because it shows that in pockets where in many times, just the first time experimenting about school choice, it is working, and it shows that parents are desperate to have control over where their child goes to school, and that if there is success in the Lone Star State, and Brian, you've been a champion of school choice well before me, so I don't want to step on your toes, but if there is success in these pockets, maybe that eventually leads to this nationwide spread, which is parents like me would be desperate for that to actually come to fruition. I want to also talk about, and look, I understand New York City is a bubble. It's disgusting. The private schools here are absurd. It costs more than many Americans make in a year. But I just want to talk about that, Brian, as a microcosm of what I think is going on. There was an incredible article out yesterday showing that many of the private schools are topping $70,000 a year in tuition for private schools in New York City. What that tells me, yes, there's demand and they can charge this, but they can because parents like me don't trust the public schools because I don't have school choice, because I don't have other options. And so we are desperate to find any private school that is maybe not teaching all the woke stuff. Now, Dagan, you and I can argue that half of these schools are teaching all the woke stuff.
They are.
I'm actually a huge fan of Catholic schools, Brian, and you and I have talked about that. But this demand and the tuition they're able to command, I think for me is also speaking to parents feel like within a public school system, we have no other choice.
Right. Now, the Texas cost of living is different, Dagan, but the students in that program are going to get $10,500 for private school tuition, or they'll get $2,000 if they homeschool. Now, I kind of wish they got a little more if they homeschool. That's my own little axe to grind. But so $10,500 means you can't have prices like you have in New York, which you probably won't in Texas. But what do you think about the economics of this program in a place like Texas and what difference it makes?
Can I just raise a question, though?
Yeah.
Because I've heard this from friends of mine who are on school boards, who are very conservative individuals who live in very conservative areas. And their concern is, because they're on public school boards, is that you get a race to the bottom of the education in the public school system when you give financial incentives to families and then the best and brightest leave. Mm-hmm. Then they take public money that is given to them and they go to a private school, the private school tuition goes up, and then what's left is kids in a public school who need the best education and can't get it because a lot of private schools will not admit people or will not admit kids who have serious particular learning disabilities. And so they're stuck in the private schools and can't take advantage of, they could homeschool.
But shouldn't that competition cause the public school to up its game? I mean, that's the whole concept of the school choice. In theory.
I'm just expressing something that has been said to me.
I've heard that. It's not totally absurd what they're saying, but it should mean public schools get better. And listen, here's the real problem here. You have an education establishment in the United Federation of Teachers, which has a stranglehold on school districts in places like New York, in Chicago, in California, and they're squeezing the public school systems, and they're basically defining deviancy down. It's a horrible public school experience if you know anybody who went to these public schools, aside for a few in New York. I mean, Stuyvesant is obviously a very good public school in New York, but these are outliers, right? And you know, the only way to really combat Randy Weingarten, I hate to say it, is to move out. And that's one of the reasons, aside from taxes, you have people moving out of New York, out of Illinois, out of California. The influx of, the reason why their populations have remained somewhat stable is because they have an influx of immigrants, probably many of them illegal. But, you know, that's kind of where the school systems are going. So you literally have school systems in these places that are, that first off, they have to be, they must have 15 translators because of all the influx of immigrants that they need to educate. And they're not paying enough attention to average kids. And I think Texas, by doing this, all it's saying is that you can come here, you can get a private education. And by the way, our public schools, up your game.
Yeah. Well, and school choice is sort of a way to move out without having to move out. You know, if you're concerned about your school, but you don't have the means to leave a place, at least your kids can leave their school. Dagan does raise an interesting point. I wonder what you think about this. Do parents who want to move their kids out of public schools have a responsibility to their public schools to keep them there, or do lawmakers have a responsibility to keep them there?
Absolutely not.
Because that's sort of the other side of that
Parents have the responsibility
argument.
for the kids, and lawmakers have the responsibility.
So what do you say, Jack?
I think you make the choice as a parent, and it's unfortunate that many parents feel their hands are tied and they can't make that choice. But Charlie, you make a great point here about New York City, for example, and that private school tuition that you mentioned, for example. If people leave now with the big, beautiful law and the SALT cap deduction going up and giving people opportunities in the suburbs to deduct more of their property taxes, if you can find a neighborhood that actually has a decent school, and some of the suburbs do still,
Well, they have good schools
or
in Westchester.
they're definitely better than here, or
Long
even
Island.
some of them in New Jersey too, you're giving people options. But part of this for me is looking at it from the standpoint of, what is the left trying to accomplish here? What is Randy Weingarten doing when she's deliberately almost sabotaging the school system? To me, it's this, people complain that it's so expensive to have a child, whether it's to educate them, feed them, clothe them, make sure you have childcare, all of these extra needs. And when the left talks about affordability, somehow they just kind of like sweep all of that under the rug. But that is real for people.
Have you ever seen
people are not having kids because of it.
I agree. And have you ever seen
And they don't care.
how much it costs to educate somebody like when they do per pupil education costs in New York City? It's like through the roof. It's like it's higher than Catholic schools. And I
think it's close to $30,000.
It's something absurd, and it's all because Randy Weingarten is an arm of the Democratic Party, and she's protecting this huge workforce, which she can often deliver to whether it's Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or whoever.
But my point is, it's at expense of the kids, it's at expense of the family, it's at expense of the community, and there are a lot of people making life decisions based on that.
You got to move.
I'll tell you what, we got to move too, but I had a conversation with somebody after church this week, and the guy looked at me and said, because they're trying to figure out where to send their kid to school, and he said, I don't want to send my kid to a school that's working against everything I'm trying to teach him at home. And that's what the left does. The left's like, we're not going to have kids, but we're going to take your kids and we're going to turn them into lefties through the school system. Sorry, but that's unvarnished what happens.
But I think some of this is a cop-out for politicians who are feckless to fix the schools, and all they do is blame the unions. Because in North Carolina, there is no collective bargaining for the teachers. The unions don't, in essence, exist. And the person who told me that about good students being funneled out of the schools into private schools was in North Carolina.
Well, maybe those public schools are good, but they still
They're not.
They're not.
We got to go. The bell has rung on this class. We're out of session.